is Valley News Live at 4.
Earlier this summer is now facing federal charges. 22-year-old Hunter Havisto is charged with 5 counts of interference with commerce by threats and violence. Court documents say he started his string of robberies at Tropical Smoothie, then Walmart off 13th Avenue and a Casey's gas station, M&H, and finally Mr. Money off 33rd Street South. Police were eventually able to arrest him at an apartment on 9th Avenue South. His charges in Cass County have been dismissed. New for you now at 4, possible human bones have been recovered in Beltrami County. The sheriff's office says Tuesday afternoon they took a call from a utility crew that unearthed what they believe to be human bones. Now, they're not yet releasing whether or not they were human remains. Instead, they say the investigation is ongoing. No other information will be released at this time. Stick with Valley News Live as we continue to work on this story. Defense officials say they're prepared for and expect more attack attempts in Kabul one day after a suicide bombing killed more than 150 people, including 13 U.S. service members. As Skylar Henry reports today, President Biden said the U.S. will complete the mission just days ahead of the August 31st deadline for withdrawal.
The Pentagon now says there was only one suicide bomber in Thursday's attack outside Kabul's international airport, setting off an explosion that killed 13 U.S. service members and many more Afghan civilians. The group known as ISIS-K has claimed responsibility.
We still believe there are credible threats. In fact, I'd say specific credible threats.
President Biden met with his national security team Friday ahead of his first face-to-face sit-down with Israel's new prime minister, Naftali Bennett.
Evacuated more than 12,000 additional people out of the airport in the last 24 hours. We will complete the mission.
The White House says U.S. commanders updated the president on plans to develop ISIS-K targets and told him the next few days will be the most dangerous period to date for the mission in Afghanistan.
The president and the military feel they have all the authorities they need to attack ISIS-K.
Congressional Republicans have vowed to hold President Biden accountable for the chaotic U.S. withdrawal.
There will be a day of reckoning, and we have a constitutional rights.
Flags at the White House and other federal buildings will fly at half-staff until August 30th to honor the victims. Officials say the roughly 5,000 U.S. troops on the ground are taking maximum force protection measures as they continue to evacuate thousands from Kabul airport. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
11 of the 13 U.S. service members killed yesterday were Marines. The identities of the fallen are being withheld until 24 hours after all next of kin have been notified. That much needed rain continued to fall today in Fargo Moorhead. This is what it looked like this morning downtown Fargo. Let's check in now with meteorologist Nathan Hopper for what we can expect this afternoon. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. Some more much-needed rainfall across the region. Do have some rainfall reports so far. Some areas like the Wilmot, South Dakota area picking up 2 inches of some much-needed rainfall. In Groton, 1.86 inches, and then just to the south there in Aberdeen, 1.67. Did get a picture from the New Rockford area of a rain gauge filled up to 1.75 inches as of just about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Then in Sisseton, 1.63 inches of rainfall measured. So again, some of that slow soaking rainfall that we do desperately need and still need more of here across the region. So here's how things look right now on satellite and radar. We do have still those showers moving off toward the north, really falling apart as they move into across the Canadian border. Still those seeing in Roseau County, Lake of the Woods County, Beltrami County, seeing still some more of those organized showers at this time. But you can see in the Fargo area starting to see some clear sky making its way in from the south, and I do expect quiet conditions to take hold from south to north as we continue through this evening. So even those much needed rain showers there across northern Minnesota will continue pushing their way north and east as we progress through the rest of our Friday evening. But for tomorrow, a first alert weather day to tell you about the chance of some strong to severe storms, especially south and into Lakes Country for our Saturday. But for tonight, if you have any outdoor plans, things look good until the deepest part of the overnight hours. You can see that shower chance and storm chance does return in Fargo with middle 60s there for this evening. In Grand Forks, Stacy seeing those middle 60s as well with the chance of some storms. But of course, we'll break down that all important weekend forecast in a few minutes.
All right. Thanks so much, Nathan. These 3 men were arrested after an undercover human trafficking sting in Grand Forks. Police say they planned the sting for several weeks, targeting adults who were trying to hire people for sex. The 3 were arrested last night at a Grand Forks hotel. They haven't been formally charged, but are being held on hiring an individual to engage in sexual activity. The BBB is warning about a potential scam that impersonates real users of the Venmo app. They say scammers are using the information found in Venmo's public feed to steal usernames and profile pictures to create a fake account. They then contact people the account holder had previously sent or received money from, asking for a couple $100s. The BBB says always double check with your friends before sending them any cash and keep your transactions private within the app. Minnesota state troopers surrounded a large group of Line 3 protesters at the state capitol, citing an expired permit. The group of self-described water protectors had a permit to hold protests on Capitol ground from Tuesday through Thursday to demonstrate against the Enbridge Line 3 oil pipeline project, but they were still there this afternoon. They're calling on Governor Tim Walz and the Biden administration to cancel permits for the pipeline, which they say violates long-standing tribal agreements and could lead to an environmental disaster. The CDC says every U.S. state is now at risk for high transmission of COVID-19 as the Delta variant continues its spread. As Anthony Pirro reports, today a major court ruling came down in Florida regarding mask mandates for the state's nearly 3 million students.
As COVID-19 cases soared to their highest levels ever in the state of Florida, a judge ruled Friday that Florida school districts may impose mask mandates for students in defiance of Governor Ron DeSantis' ban. Judge John Cooper said the governor's order is unconstitutional and without legal authority. DeSantis has threatened to withhold some state funding to school boards that approved mask mandates. The ruling is a victory for many parents.
Sometimes you have to stand up and do what's right to the people in power and protect those that can't do it themselves. And that's exactly what we did.
While the debate over mask mandates at schools rages across the country, there's good news on the vaccination front. At least half of U.S. 12 to 17-year-olds have had at least one COVID vaccine dose.
This is critical progress as millions of kids head back to school. And in fact, the vaccination rate among adolescents is growing faster than any other age group.
Here in California, lawmakers are considering a statewide mask mandate that would require residents to show proof of vaccination in order to go about much of their daily lives. The CDC reports COVID-related deaths are up 11% from last week. Healthcare workers are under enormous strain across the country.
The perfect way that people have described this as a war zone. People are younger, people are sicker.
And on Thursday, the Supreme Court blocked the Biden administration's temporary ban on evictions for Americans who have struggled to pay their rent during the pandemic. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Supreme Court blocked the ban on evictions on a 6-3 vote. In its unsigned opinion, the court says the CDC has exceeded its authority to issue a nationwide moratorium. The CDC says nearly 650,000 Americans have received an additional dose of the COVID vaccine. The new figure for immunocompromised people receiving the vaccine is now part of CDC's daily vaccination updates. The CDC also says the COVID booster shots will be available for everyone starting the week of September 20th. For people who do not have compromised immune systems, the third shot is recommended 8 months after the second dose. In North Dakota, the National Center for Education shows more than 5,300 students were homeschooled last year. That's a 42% increase from 2019. This school year's numbers won't be available until next month. Families in North Dakota that homeschool can get support from the North Dakota Homeschool Association. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, education officials say school disruptions caused by the pandemic have resulted in significant drops in math and reading test scores for students. According to the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment, proficiency rates fell 11 percentage points to 44% in math and 7 points to 53% in reading since 2019. Today's rain didn't keep many people away from Potato Days in Barnesville, including our Valley News Live crew. It was fun seeing so many viewers out there this morning. It's the festival's 30th year celebrating Potato Days after being canceled last year because of the pandemic. Over the next 2 days, there will be potato car races, barrel rides, and wagon rides. Tonight, Miss Tater Tot will take the main stage at 6, and there's a French fry feed downtown at 7. Important information still to come. What's being done to keep your kids safe from falling furniture? Stay with us on Valley News Live at 4.
We do have a severe weather risk for our Saturday, mainly in those deep green areas from Fargo Point south into Lakes Country. Hail and wind the primary concerns, and that does include our friends out in Lakes Country. Of course, we'll break down what you can expect after the break.